Hello everyone, and welcome. I apologise for not having this reaction out yesterday, but I ended up having to watch the episode at about 11:30 at night. The reason for this is because the band Madness was playing in my city, and unfortunately Madness takes precedence over Doctor Who. And of course the fact that we beat Man United 1-0, so take with that what you will. But anyway, on to what we're all here for. Wild Blue Yonder. Perhaps the story that we knew least about, and that might be because it had the least in it. Not that that's a bad thing, I actually quite enjoyed the episode. It was really good to see a story that properly pushed the boundaries of Doctor Who, and that Davies is back to properly writing, especially when it is a story that only features two characters for 90% of the story, and a sort of third, but we will get to that. If we start from the beginning, Isaac Newton is back after having a brief mention in, I believe, The Pirate Planet, where the Doctor talks about how he helped Isaac Newton discover gravity. Of course, this takes a different turn, but with a show like this, you never know. It could just be so different. Everything can change whenever it needs to. People probably will be a bit mad about that, but that's not the main thing. The main thing that I reckon people will be a bit angry about is the fact that they gave him the Cleopatra treatment. What I mean by this is taking a character, well, a real historical person who is known as one race and replacing them with an actor of a different race. Personally, I don't have a problem with this. When it came to the Bridgerton Queen Charlotte, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a brilliant idea. Didn't change a single thing because at the end of the day, it is the character itself. It's not about who's playing it. If they play the character perfectly, that's the way it is. It's a bonus. It's brilliant. The Isaac Newton story, the actor, whose name I unfortunately don't have in front of me, was brilliant. He had a fantastic performance. But I assume people are going to be quite angry about this, but just stuff them. Though I do feel like this isn't the same timeline as usual. Though they did have, because of course the references to Mavity, Isaac Newton discovering the word gravity through the Doctor and Donna, and then changing it to Mavity. A really nice little touch that through the episodes the timeline seems to change a bit, where they start saying Mavity instead of gravity, and the Doctor, being a time-sensitive being, notices that Donna has changed it to Mavity, and instead of just correcting it, decides to roll along with it and just continue to say Mavity. Brilliant stuff. It's fantastic writing to see some good continuity from Davies within his own story, even if it doesn't fully reflect what's happened in the classic series, but they're different universes. Might make a video on that. So, the TARDIS team have crash-landed on a spaceship that keeps repeating a very strange word, except it's a different set of words. Don't know why I said that. Different set of words that seem to be doing a strange thing to the ship where the walls shift and all the giant pillars keep moving. Very, very odd. And then the TARDIS decides to run away. I believe the last time that we ever saw the HADS itself was in the Mind Rubber, when the Doctor uses the HADS to get away from the volcano in The Enemy of the World, and then sends them to the land of fiction, and then promptly turns it off, as he said, I believe, after 3 years of being in orbit. Whenever that time was, maybe it was Season 6B, we'll never know. But it was really good to see that the TARDIS not being there actually also removed the Sonic, because the Sonic in Chibnall's era, as we all know, was such a massive crutch for the Doctor to use, that if you've got a problem, Sonic it, scan it, do everything. The Sonic is a tool that can do so many brilliant things, and getting rid of that tool that can do brilliant things means that the Doctor finally has to use their vast intelligence to solve situations instead of relying on a crutch like the Sonic. Really good stuff to see that it has finally changed over. RTD is not the same kind of writer as Chibnall, and this is best reflected later on when we actually get to discussing the Flux. The Flux always felt like something that, as soon as the Power of the Doctor came on, it didn't really matter anymore. It's like in Logopolis, when basically 75% of the universe is completely destroyed by CVEs, and nothing happens as a result of that. I mean, Nyssa sees her entire world be destroyed and has visibly no reaction. She just goes, oh no, and that's it, that's the whole thing. It felt the exact same in Flux, where most of the universe is destroyed and no one really seems to care about it. Of course, you could make the argument that the Doctor hasn't really had a moment to spare to really think about what's happened and grieve, but that's just not what would happen. The Doctor's had a very long time. We don't know how long the Doctor's had just sitting there in the TARDIS. They could have wallowed about it, sat there and thought about it, but only now they're doing it. Really shows the difference between Chibnall and RTD as writers. Because at the end of the day, RTD is objectively a better writer than Chibnall. Yeah, I said it. Though I see, I have a feeling that's probably not a hot take right there. It was good to see that finally we've got some raw emotion in our stories instead of just through romance having emotions. We finally get some emotion through consequences, and it really shows how brilliant of an actor David Tennant is through all this. And of course Catherine Tate, because this whole story is just the two of them talking to each other and fake versions of themselves. And they are, just compared to the rest of the cast, incredibly good actors. They're able to convey such emotion and nuance through simple actions and facial expressions. It's wonderful to see, especially compared to the last story where a few actors were dragging it down a bit. Wonderful stuff. Of course, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the nothing. The nothing, the nothing, the no things. They've been called many things on Twitter all over the place, but I haven't seen the official with air quotes, TARDIS wiki definition of it. But the nothing creatures. Very interesting to see something that allows the characters to show their inner turmoil and their inner thoughts without them actually having to say it. They're reflected with these creatures that are almost exact copies of them and are really, really scary. As soon as the fake Donna walked into the water room, you could tell that it wasn't the real Donna just from Catherine Tate's facial expressions. You could see that the way that she was looking at David was not like she was trying to have a conversation with him, like she was studying him, trying to get a grasp of this incredibly powerful creature and get their mind around them. It was amazing to see just how creepy these actors can actually come across, even when they're playing essentially the same character. And then, of course, we get into all of the body horror stuff. It's weird to see that Doctor Who has now brought back body horror and twisted it into such a very strange sci-fi way. The best case is, I'd say, in the corridor when they're running away, and then the creatures stop understanding mass and just fully expand. It's brilliant stuff. And then when we're in the corridors, it's really tense to just hear behind Donna one of the creatures following them, but we don't know whether it is actually them there. So, of course, in the end, the day is saved. The fake Donna is removed from the TARDIS via the ramps, which was a very nice detail to see that the TARDIS can now shift its internals at the Doctor's behest and just throw out this Donna and bring the new Donna in. Good to see. And then when we finally land on Earth, something's happened after a few days, and it's Wilf there. I didn't think anyone expected Wilf to be there, instead probably Yasmin Finney. But it's good to see him return properly and know that he is more than likely going to spend a lot of time in the next special, The Giggle, or at least have some sort of major role in it. The weird thing I thought was that it just seemed to kick off a bit too quickly with the explosions and people attacking each other. Why was there such a downtime before Will said everything was going mad? Is this timelines changing? Is this because the Doctor's here now, the toy maker is actually doing something to the whole of the world, the whole of London? Who knows? We'll have to see next week. Overall, it was quite the enjoyable story. I can't really fault it. It's brilliant to see these two actors be able to shine with their amazing talent and just roll with each other with just such brilliant chemistry. But anyway, guys, that's my reaction to Wild Blue Yonder. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like and subscribing down below, as it really helps out the channel. But, as always, thanks for watching.